Hello and welcome to Guelph GradCast, the only University of Guelph podcast dedicated to bringing you real conversations with real University of Guelph grads. I'm your host, Ryan, and yeah, the rumors are true. I am also a Guelph grad. Today, I'm joined by Maya Fields. Maya graduated from the University of Guelph's Biomed program in 2023, and she is currently at McMaster for med school and just finished up her first year. Welcome to the podcast, Maya. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
So let's kind of just jump right into it. Why did you choose to come to the University of Guelph, and why did you choose biomed?
So my older brother actually went to the University of Guelph as well. He started in the biomed program and ended up switching into a math program instead. And so when I was in high school and kind of exploring universities, I heard great things about Guelph. So that kind of inspired me to look a little deeper into the program. And then specifically biomed, I really liked that it would give me a chance to kind of explore a lot of different like foundational biologies and like health science type courses. Because I kind of had a feeling from high school that I would want to go into medicine or like a healthcare adjacent specialty.
Nice. And was there kind of any surprises when you first kind of started Guelph or started in the program?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was surprised by how good the food on campus was. I know people like to say that university food is not great, but I never had that problem at Guelph. I know a lot of my friends from high school who went to different schools would complain a lot about the food options available on their campuses. And in terms of the program, I guess I was surprised in first year, like how broad of a scope we got to see. Like in terms of our mandatory courses, I think I had to take 3 different biology courses, and each kind of had a different focus. So it was kind of cool just to get to explore, I guess, the different niches that exist in sciences, even just from the get-go.
Was there any kind of interesting niches that you kind of didn't think about prior to the program, prior to being in university, that you discovered and thought, oh, wow, this is actually really interesting?
Yes. Not from first year, but later on, we had to take an epidemiology course in my third year, and I absolutely loved it, which I was really not surprised, like really not expecting. I'm not a huge math and statistics person, but it was super interesting. The prof was amazing, and I liked it so much I ended up doing a 4th-year thesis with the professor in epidemiology. So I really, really enjoyed it.
And for someone who's, a drama grad, epidemiology is a study of population health?
Yes.
Nice. 10 points for me. And so, you're in the biomed program, you're kind of getting into it. One thing I know a lot of people talk about is the human anatomy lab. How was that for you? Were you kind of prepared for that? Or, did you find it interesting, or did it take a bit to get used to?
I remember being very nervous about it, because it was fall 2021 and winter 2022 when I took the course. So it was kind of on the cusps of COVID. It was a pro-section course, meaning that the 4th-year students got to do the actual dissection of the bodies, and we looked at the dissected bodies rather than doing the dissection ourselves. It was very cool. I mean, definitely helpful now. Like we have pro-section labs here at McMaster for medical school, and it's a lot of things that I've seen before. And it kind of helped me, I guess, even just discover the different areas of like the human body anatomy that I was interested in, and helped me figure out like what type of medicine I think I would be more inclined to specialize in. Obviously not having started medicine yet, but hoping to one day.
Yeah, for sure. I could imagine going from, say, a textbook to actually seeing like a real, being able to assess it and be able to recognize things is very different than how it is in a textbook or even a video, right?
100%.
And so then now you're in med school, you just finished your first year. You mentioned, like this helped give you that experience while you're there. But do you find overall that the program helped you prepare for what you're doing in med school now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, McMaster is very different from other med schools in terms of the way the curriculum is centered. It's very self-directed. And so when we're learning like different physiologies and anatomies and like pathophysiologies of different diseases, a lot of it I remember learning about in my undergrad. And I can even like go back into my notes and kind of see how I used to know things, how I know things now. Like for pharmacology, for example, that was another mandatory course I had to take at Guelph. And that's been very helpful to kind of go back into my notes and see, oh, I did used to know this. Maybe I can like use my notes instead of trying to look online for outside sources to kind of reteach myself.
Yeah, for sure. And now do you know what you want to specialize in and what kind of, doctor you want to be?
I'm thinking pediatrics, so working with kids, maybe some other form of subspecialty after that, but I
Oh,
still have a
nice.
bit of time to decide.
Nice. And so you mentioned that you went to Guelph and you chose this program because you were interested in being a doctor. Is that something you've always wanted to, or when did that kind of come about?
I think on and off throughout my life, I always wanted to do it. I remember being very little and wanting it. At one point, I think I wanted to be an orthodontist. At one point, I wanted to be a vet, something always in the sciences.
Hmm.
And then I kind of landed back in medicine.
Yeah. Well, that's good for you. Like, congratulations. I feel like
Thank
every
you.
parent, they when they talk about what their kid's going to grow up to be, they want their kid to be a doctor. So I'm sure your family is very proud.
Thank you.
So, is there anything else at the University of Guelph in terms of your experience outside of academics that you found, you still carry with you, or you still think about or still appreciate?
Yeah, I mean, I was a part of a couple clubs and at Guelph too. I was part of Relay for Life in first year, which was super fun. I think it was a really great way to get involved right from the get-go. There was like a great sense of community on the team, and at the end of we had like one event at the end of the year where we had a like overnight event for 12 hours where you stay awake and raise money for cancer research. And so that was really fun. I got to meet people that way. I was also part of some other like cultural clubs where I met a lot of my friends that I still am in touch with today. And even just in my program, like one of my best friends I just met in my program just so happened actually just taking the same elective that wasn't a mandatory course. And so I think just people at Guelph were so friendly and it was a very great place to meet people and make friends.
For sure. I know one of the things we hear a lot about Guelph is that sense of community and kind of the environment itself. Not only does it like a beautiful campus, but it feels welcoming. Was that kind of like your experience as well?
Yeah, for sure. I have to say, like I remember in first year, like walking through residence and someone complimenting my outfit that I'd never seen before. Just people are very friendly and just yeah, I can't say I've had any negative experiences in terms of people on the campus. And like you said, the campus is also really beautiful. Like you want to be outdoors. I love being in nature. So having the arboretum right there was so nice to just like go and escape. I personally loved the cow path. Whenever I felt overwhelmed and stressed, I'd just go look at the cows and horses, and that always made me feel better.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. Sometimes you don't even realize there's like a full farm
Yeah.
right in the middle of the city. You could, because it's nicely, weirdly tucked away. And
Mhm.
it is like a really nice spot to kind of stop by and visit. So you talked a little bit about food as well. And I know that's a big thing a lot of people talk about. Is there any spot that you particularly like to eat at, or did you find it all pretty great, or a particular
It was
food item?
all Yeah, it was all pretty great. My favorite two would probably be like Mongolian, either in Prairie or in Creelman, and I loved the Creelman pizza. That was always a treat to have. There was also, I forget what it's called, but in Creelman as well, it was like there was like a chef kitchen and the person there would like make these very elaborate meals. They were so good. Like genuinely felt like restaurant quality meals.
Yeah, I think I never realized how good the food was because it's my experience was just Guelph, and I just assumed that most universities were like that. But speaking to friends of mine who went to other schools, and even when I did my post grad, yeah, the food is not the same. Like it's much nicer. And so thinking about med school, I know that that's quite the process to get into med school. Do you have any advice for people who are considering going to med school or something you didn't know about and wish you kind of knew beforehand?
In terms of advice, I think academics are definitely a priority in terms of studying hard, getting the grades you need to kind of make it past that cutoff point. And then the MCAT is a whole other ball game. I think that like Guelph did prepare me well. I took the MCAT twice, and the second time I took it was after taking organic chemistry, which again was not a requirement for my program. It was something that I decided to take because some medical schools required it, and it helped so much in studying for the MCAT the second time because the first time I took it, I was like, I don't know what any of this is. And the second time, it was like that section of the MCAT was a breeze because of the organic chemistry course. It was very well taught. I think pretty much everything that was on the MCAT had been taught to me at some point in my undergrad, and I just had to kind of refresh myself on what it was. And I mean, I'd say get involved in things that you're passionate about because the passion is what really comes across. And there's so many clubs and committees and things to do on campus that you can get involved in and make your university experience your own.
Hmm. Uh, Do you find, now that you've been away for about a year, do you find it comes up like, being from Guelph? Do you interact with other, organically with other Griffins, and is it positive, when people find out where you went to school?
Yeah, it's funny that every time like I meet someone new in my program or like a year above or something, if they say they went to Guelph, I immediately pipe up and say the same, and there's kind of this sense of like passion and pride for the homeschool. I mean, I still keep my lanyard. I didn't change my lanyard to a McMaster one. I still feel like a Griffin at heart. So on my keys, I still have my Guelph lanyard. I kind of show it off wherever I go.
That's awesome. Yeah, I do find Guelph doesn't really have, I don't know, maybe I'm naive, but I don't feel like we have that many like real big rivalries. Do you know what I mean? Like if you say you
Mhm.
go to Guelph, there's no like, oh well, I went to this school. You know what I mean? There's always fairly positive. Most people are like, oh, I really wanted to go there, or I have, my brother went there, or a relative. But yeah, it's a mostly fairly positive experience. So tell me a little bit more about your time at the university. Just, getting into residence, all that. Was that a positive experience for you too, or did you, was it difficult?
Like getting like moved in or
Yeah, yeah, moving only because I think sometimes students when they're, going to school, they don't really they have an idea of what it's going to be like, but moving into new space, meeting new people, would you say that was mostly positive experience or, did you enjoy yourself?
yeah, I think it was pretty positive. I remember they gave us a list ahead of time of things that were included in our room that we would not need to purchase and then things that we would. I remember being really, really nervous on move-in day, but the second like I got there with the car, there were upper year students that came and they were super friendly and kind of helped me find my room and helped me move my stuff in, which was really nice. And I remember right away after we moved in, there was kind of like a meeting with your tower. I lived in South.
Hmm.
And so there was kind of like activities with your tower right away. So you can kind of bond with the people you live around. And I'd say people were really friendly and inclusive. And a week was really fun. There was a concert. It's been so long. I'm trying to remember what else there was. I remember a concert that we went to right at the beginning. There's kind of like a campus tour. I will say Guelph's campus is so easy to navigate compared to other ones. I'm still cannot figure out my way across the McMaster campus, but even though I haven't necessarily been to every building on the Guelph campus, like it's laid out in a very clear way, and you can kind of figure out your way around.
Yeah, it is nice that it is one campus. Some schools
Mhm.
are spread across the city and you can easily navigate. Did you kind of look at other schools before you decided on Guelph? Did you do any tours or go anywhere else, or was kind of Guelph your first choice?
I actually didn't tour anywhere.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't even I didn't even tour Guelph. I had a unofficial tour by my brother when he was moving apartments and everything was closed because it was after exams, but I remember him showing me like raws. I mean, I have a very bad sense of direction, so how I remember picturing it then versus like actually coming to the school and how it was laid out are very, very different. Given the fact that I had not really seen the campus before actually moving in and coming, like I figured my way out around pretty quickly, even with my horrible sense of direction.
Nice. Yeah. I imagine it can be quite overwhelming when you first get there finding your class, even trying to, you have the little code and trying to know what building is this? Which room is it? What floor? But yeah, it is nice that Guelph is actually really easy to navigate. Is there anything in biomed that you like kind of particularly, really love or like in terms of like science and subject matter that you like just if someone brings it up at a party, you just can't help but talk about it and want to give some facts about?
I'd say surprisingly what I loved, I don't remember much of it anymore, but fourth year of biomedical sciences is a lot of, I think they're called restricted electives. So there's kind of a list of courses that you're required to take. I think it was four of them, and there's so many options. I think I took like six of them, even though I didn't have to just because they were interesting. And one of the courses that I took it was actually I only took it because it was a prerequisite for another course I wanted to take the next semester was oh my gosh, now I'm forgetting the name of the course. Histology. And I was expecting to dread it. Basically, histology is like you take cells and you stain them and you look at them and you have to identify what the cell is. Or like what part of the body you're looking at. And I was expecting to hate the course because I don't like very small things. I'm kind of like a big picture person, but it was actually really, really interesting. It was really cool, like being able to see different types of like white blood cells and be like, oh, I actually can recognize that this is this type because we learned that this type has X amount of nuclei. And so you can see that the nucleus is stained this color and you actually like kind of get to figure out what it's supposed to look like. which if I wanted to be a pathologist would have been very, very helpful to me. So I was really expecting to hate it, and I absolutely loved the course. I have to say it's like one of my favorite courses I took at Guelph. And I took it as a prerequisite for cancer immunology, which was also a really great course. So even though we don't do that much histology here at McMaster for med school, like sometimes something will pop up of it, and like the little tidbits that have stayed in my brain, I get excited to be like, oh, I still remember this a little bit.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think sometimes it's easy to forget that, our bodies are basically a universe upon itself.
Yeah.
You mentioned some other electives. Were there any like non-science electives that kind of surprised you that you really enjoyed?
Yeah, so I took a philosophy elective that I really, really loved. I think I took it my first semester of second year. I don't even remember why I took it. I think I needed some arts credits and it sounded kind of interesting. I think I took philosophy in high school and it was okay. So I was like, why not try it? And I really, really liked it. And we got to read like some philosophical texts. Like I think we read something from Aristotle, and I was like, I just felt so cool getting to read like real philosophers' work, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I ended up taking another philosophy course because of it. In my next semester, I even like debated whether I should minor in philosophy because I liked it so much, but I didn't have enough elective space to do that. I also took crime and criminal justice, which is like Soc 1500. And that was a really, really cool course. Like I've always been interested in like true crime, and it was kind of interesting to learn about it from like a sociological perspective. And I also took a medicinal plants course, which was also very, very cool. Getting to learn about like kind of like that, like the natural remedy side of medicine as well. Guelph has like so many amazing electives. Like there were so many that were cool that I never even got to take. So there's just like something out there for everyone, really.
That's really interesting. I think philosophy, there could be a lot of like kind of, carryover, I would say, to medicine, like, ethics, or just like, I feel like back during that time that I imagine there was a bit more crossover. Like, I always think like the Hippocratic Oath and all that, that feels kind of almost borderline philosophy. So that's really cool. Is there anything else you want to talk about your program that you really, really loved, or anything that really stood out to you? Like, was there any, little bit of information a professor gave that has stayed with you? Oh, it's a heavy question. I'll just like put you on the spot there.
I can't think of any like specific things said. I will just say that I think in my experience with the professors at Guelph, like everyone was so kind and accommodating. If I ever needed extra help, like they were always available at office hours and always wanted to help. Like for organic chemistry, for example, like I struggled a lot at the beginning, and I think I went to the professor's office every week, if not multiple times a week, for help. And she was so kind and helped me every single time. And I think that's just true across the board, that if you seek out help, they want to help you. The professors are very kind and accommodating. There's a lot of resources at your disposal. Like in first year, you can kind of like get paired up with an upper year student as a mentor to kind of like walk you through the transition. I remember doing that in first year as well. And so I think I said before, like your university experience is really what you make it. And I think Guelph has so many resources at your disposal, so many like things to get involved in. And it's just about like putting yourself out there and doing it.
That's really important. I think sometimes people are like afraid to ask for help because they're not sure the professor will give them the time, or maybe they feel kind of insecure about it. But to know that there's support there that can help you through it. I think I heard once like a piece of advice that like if you don't know something in the class, you're not going to figure it out by yourself later on. So you're always good to just ask right away when you first have that uncertainty. So it is really comforting to know that the professors are supportive. I know you're a busy person, so maybe we'll just leave it at one last question, and that is if you could we can frame it two ways. Either if you want to give one last piece of advice for anyone considering Guelph or considering your program, or if you somehow could take a time machine back and speak to Maya, first year, just about to step on campus, and you could give yourself one piece of advice, what would that be?
I think if I were to give first year me a piece of advice, don't stress, it'll all work out. And just, I guess, get involved. Like, really, this is your time, the first time in your life where you kind of get to choose your own adventure fully. You're away from home for the first time, and do what sounds interesting to you, work hard, which I did, but just like enjoy it, because it's going to go by so quickly, and then you're going to be graduated for 2 years and you're going to wonder where the time went.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much, Maya. I really appreciate you taking the time to kind of chat with us today. If you like what you heard, please like and subscribe to wherever you get your podcasts, and you can get the latest updates from us if you follow us on all our socials. And if always more info you can find at uguelph.ca. We'll put all the links in the show notes. And actually, our show's theme music is by Paige Rutledge, who's also a Guelph grad. And we'll be back next week in your podcast feed with a whole new interview with a new Guelph grad. Till next time, thank you so much for listening.